Giving advice and making suggestions are important communication skills that allow you to offer guidance, recommendations, or ideas to others. In English, various expressions and structures can be used to convey advice and suggestions effectively. Here's an explanation with examples. Giving advice. Using should or ought to. 1. Example: you should get plenty of rest when you're feeling unwell. Using had better. 1. Example: you had better start preparing for the exam early to avoid last-minute stress. Using you'd better. 1. Example: given the traffic, you'd better leave for the airport now. Using modals could, can, may. 1. Example: if you're unsure about the route, you could use a navigation app. Using if I were you. 1. Example: I think, if I were you, I would consider negotiating for a better deal. Making suggestions. Using let's or why don't we. 1. Example: let's grab a coffee after the meeting. 2. Example: why don't we schedule a team building activity this month? Using how about or what about. 1. Example: how about trying the new restaurant downtown for lunch? 2. Example: what about watching a movie tonight? Using shall we. 1. Example: shall we discuss this matter in the next meeting? 2. Example: shall we go for a walk in the park? Using modals can, could, may. 1. Example: can we consider incorporating more sustainable practices in our daily operations? 2. Example: could we explore alternative solutions to this problem? Examples in sentences. Giving advice. 1. You should start saving for retirement as early as possible. 2. Given your symptoms, I think you ought to see a doctor. 3. Considering the traffic, you'd better take the train to the airport. 4. If you have any doubts, you could seek advice from a financial advisor. 5. If I were you, I would prioritize work-life balance for overall well-being. Making suggestions. 1. Let's finalize the project proposal by the end of the week. 2. Why don't we organize a team-building workshop to boost morale? 3. How about exploring new marketing strategies to reach a wider audience? 4. Shall we meet for lunch tomorrow to discuss the upcoming project? 5. Can we consider implementing a flexible work schedule for better productivity? Important points to remember. 1. Use polite language when offering advice or making suggestions. 2. Consider the context and the relationship with the person you are advising or suggesting to. 3. Be open to feedback and alternative ideas. By incorporating these expressions and structures into your communication, you can effectively give advice and make suggestions in a clear and respectful manner. Let's go into more detailed examples of giving advice and making suggestions in various situations. Giving advice. Using should or ought to. 1. Situation: your friend is stressed about work. 2. Example: you should take breaks during work hours. It will help you stay focused and reduce stress. Using had better. 1. Situation: your sibling has a flight to catch, and time is running out. 2. Example: you had better leave for the airport now if you want to make it on time. Using you'd better. 1. Situation: your colleague needs to submit a report before the deadline. 2. Example: with the current workload, you'd better start working on that report now. Using modals could, can, may. 1. Situation: your neighbor is new to the neighborhood and looking for a grocery store. 2. Example: if you're not familiar with the area, you could ask locals for the nearest grocery store. Using if I were you. 1. Situation: your friend is considering quitting their job. 2. Example: if I were you, I would weigh the pros and cons before making such a significant decision. Making suggestions. Using let's or why don't we. 1. Situation: planning a team-building activity at work. 2. Example: let's organize a team-building workshop to enhance collaboration and communication. Using how about or what about. 1. Situation: deciding on dinner plans with friends. 2. Example: what about trying that new Italian restaurant downtown for dinner tonight? Using shall we. 1. Situation: proposing a solution in a team meeting. 2. Example: shall we schedule regular check-ins to ensure everyone is on track with their tasks? Using modals: can, could, may. 1. Situation: discussing ways to improve office sustainability. 2. Example: can we consider implementing a recycling program to reduce our environmental impact? Examples in sentences: giving advice. Given your recent health concerns, you should consult with a nutritionist to create a personalized diet plan. Considering the importance of work-life balance, you ought to set boundaries for your personal time. With the upcoming project deadline, you'd better prioritize tasks and allocate sufficient time to each. If you're unsure about investing in stocks, you could seek advice from a financial advisor. If I were you, I would explore online courses to enhance your professional skills. Making suggestions. Let's establish a monthly book club. It will be a great way for us to connect and share our favorite reads. What about hosting a potluck dinner for our next get-together? Everyone can bring their signature dish. Shall we explore the possibility of introducing flexible work hours to accommodate different schedules? Can we consider using video conferencing tools for our virtual team meetings to enhance communication? These detailed examples showcase how to provide advice and make suggestions in various scenarios, emphasizing clarity and consideration for the other person's perspective.